So
Yeah,
I'm not going to
I
get into
love that.
the details of literally how you've changed the trajectory of my life, but you know, you really have. You've done a 180. So I honestly, I'm not gonna start crying or anything, but I'm very thankful. I'm very thankful to have met you. Seriously.
And so it's 190 OTE. Is there a base component in that?
Yeah, so so it's 50-50, so the base is 95 as a salary.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah, I mean
That's
that.
insane. Let's drop into it. No, I'm really excited. I'm really excited
Yeah.
to do this with you. I mean, we've talked about it from the beginning. I remember you saying that you're going to be my biggest case study, and I love it. And I love it. I'm just so glad to come full circle,
Yeah.
a month in the markets and landing a 190K offer with essentially almost a six-figure base, right? 95K, is insane. So first, before we jump into that, why don't you just introduce to anybody watching, like who's Anna? Like, what are you doing? What were you doing currently before joining?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am Anna, and I live in Canada. I'm originally from Toronto, but I moved to Prince Edward Island pre-COVID, and so I kind of set up my life here. And I have a finance background, so I went to school and I took finance, but that was never something that I really wanted to do, apparently. And I just
Hmm.
accidentally kind of got into sales, knowing that I'm really great at relationship building. And I thought, okay, this is, a lot of people are making money here. So I actually took a total jump and quit my 9 to 5, my comfortable banking 9 to 5 a few years ago, and just jumped head into sales. 100% commission based, came with a lot of being in the trenches. It was very it was very difficult, and it was an emotional roller coaster because they don't tell you in sales not to take it personally. Right? So
Hmm.
because your close rate, or your win rate, is a direct um parallel to what you're worth in sales, right? And
Hmm.
so that's really difficult when you're having a slow month, to kind of tie your worth to that. And so it was just a roller coaster of emotions that I've had. And I'm also a parent of a little girl. So she's 3.5, and so I needed something more flexible without the emotional roller coaster that I was on
Hmm.
every single month. You don't have mortgages and bills to pay. So um, I was looking into something different. Like, there has to be something different in December. And I finally kind of came across you and your mentorship, and I realized, okay, so hold on a second. This guy is in corporate sales. He has a salary. He's making a lot of money, but more importantly, he's a family man, and he's actually spending time with his family. Okay, he has the winning tickets to the lottery. Essentially, I want that. I want that. I want
Hmm.
to be with my little girl a lot more than what I'm doing right now, right? So I
Hmm.
actually want to be present with her. And so I started looking into it, because for me, the fear of staying the same was for me, it was a lot harder to look at my life and understand that if I don't change anything right now, I don't take a leap of faith, if I don't do something different, then I'm going to essentially stay the same. And that was incredibly scary for me. So,
Hmm.
um, yeah, um, that's me in a nutshell. And
I love it. I got it. Yeah.
before,
Well,
so
you took action, and you
yeah,
were a high ticket closer, correct? You said commission based, but it was a high ticket, yes.
yes, yeah, it was high ticket. Yeah.
And I mean, you mentioned that you saw I think one of my ads or something like that, but we didn't know each other beforehand, correct?
No, no, I didn't know you at all. No.
Okay. And you originally joined our free school community.
I did, yes. So I followed you, and then we started chatting. I think I commented on something, and you offered me this free resource of how to, I believe it was how to essentially brand yourself. for corporate, and how to really fix up your LinkedIn profile. It was a lot of resources that were actually needed. They were tangible resources that you need. It wasn't like a hypothetical, come join here and you might do this.
Mm-hmm.
It was, here are some resources to help you if this is in fact what you're looking for. And I was all over it. I mean, your 10-day challenge was great. I learned so much from that free resource. And near the end, only then did I find out that you actually had a mastermind. And I thought that was beautiful. You're not shoving this down people's throats. You're not trying to, sell them something. It never felt like that. It was that detachment that you have, that air of detachment about you, right? Which is great.
I guess it depends on when it's used.
Yeah.
Which part.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, cool. Okay, great. And so you mentioned you have a daughter and you're a high ticket closer. What was your life like prior to joining James University? I mean, was it, you mentioned a few things about, being a ticket and it was inconsistent. What was really bothering you the most and why you decided okay, enough is enough and you wanted to take action?
What was really bothering me the most was the inconsistency of income. And a lot of the times it wasn't my abilities to, close deals or anything like that. There were external factors that I had no control over. And, sometimes it felt like, because of the shorter sales cycle, it felt like, buy or die, this mentality, book or burn, and it didn't really align with my values anymore. The hours were incredibly long, and yeah, sure, it's very flexible if you're working 13 hours a day.
Yeah.
Right? And yeah, you can work a poolside Ibiza somewhere, but you're still working those 13-hour days, and I can't do that. I have to be present for my little girl, right? I want to be the best mom that I can be, and I can't do that when I'm constantly stressed and exhausted and just burnt out, right? And it's just, life is not about, working harder. It's about working smarter. You can accomplish all of it and have a better quality life, right? Rather than commuting. And yes, I don't commute. I work remote already, but it was just I was at a point where I was feeling, okay, sales is probably not for me. And when you're at that point with somebody of my skill set, that's very toxic. So that's what I was carrying for a very long time.
Yeah. And you mentioned meditation and stuff like that. I mean, were you nervous about partnering with us?
Not at all. not at all. Not at all.
Okay, amazing.
Okay, well, for me, I come from helping individuals and then helping our clients essentially take a chance on themselves. And our offers were a lot of education. So I love mentorships. I'm probably too much. I join a lot of mentorships, expensive ones too, but that's because I love learning and I love giving back to individuals that are actually doing something with their time, like you, right? You have a skill and you're teaching other individuals to hone in on their skills as well. And so, no, I was not nervous at all. I was nervous with the price, and that's just because you never budget for some things like this, right? And for me, you don't budget for these things at all. You just figure it out,
Yeah, for sure.
So that was a little nerve-wracking, but I understood that this is an investment. It's an investment, right? Why wouldn't you? If you were given, for example, if somebody gave you $5,000 and they said, okay, you can buy this Lamborghini and then you can sell it for $200,000. Would you do it? Obviously.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You'd have to be a complete fool not to. So that's what I saw when you explained this is what we do. This is a service. This is the investment. I'm like, yeah, okay. Yeah. Let me just figure out how I'm gonna do it. That's why I needed
exactly.
Right? But I was not.
And
nervous.
when you. No. Okay, good. And given the fact you mentioned that you've done some other mentorships and stuff like that, have you had an equivalent result with other mentorships that you've had here with James University?
No, definitely not. I feel like some of those other mentorships were more so for fun education, some were more for fitness.
Hmm.
So it can't really compare. Like, I don't think I would call this a mentorship or a mastermind. Like, this is education, this is tuition. And that's really a
Hmm.
non-negotiable. If you want to be
Hmm.
um, competing in the corporate landscape, you have to invest in yourself, right? You have to
Yeah.
invest in yourself. You have to invest in your skills and really refine them. So um, I think that this education was probably more important than my degree in finance, to be honest, at a fraction
Hmm.
of the price as well. I don't even know where my degree is, to be
Hmm.
honest.
I should put that as a slogan.
There you go. Yeah.
Thanks for that one. That's great. And so when you did decide to come into the mastermind, like how was it? How was it in terms of like the support from the executive team, and maybe you give like anybody who's watching this sort of an overview of how things kind of worked and how you, if you did feel supported, how was that?
Yeah.
And what happened, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I felt so much support. I honestly, I didn't, I knew what I was signing up for, but I didn't truly tune in to how it would impact me. So my schedule is incredibly busy. I have a full-time job. I have a full-time baby, right?
Mhm.
Those are things you can't get away from. And how am I supposed to, take another full-time job and apply to these company portals and send resumes and send emails? I mean, that in itself is a full-time job. I was blown away with the level of, oh my gosh, consistency. The level of support that I had, there were a couple of days where I was just overwhelmed with my life in general, and you
Mhm.
guys kept showing up like, okay, these are the next steps we need you to do. This is what you need to do. And I'm like, shit, like these guys mean business, right? These guys mean business. Like they're here to support me, but not only that, to push me to be better, right?
Mhm.
To get
Mhm.
my investment's worth. And I mean, there are so many mentorships out there that just leave you to the wolves and don't really give a crap about you, but you guys are actually there. And it's not just you guys just being there for, moral support, like, yeah, you can do it, you're, my cheerleader. No, you're actually helping me professionally with
Mhm.
skills, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Hubert was just incredible. Like, your entire team, Lucy, oh my gosh, just Jim, right? To
Mhm.
do things like that, to have even a service like this, I mean, it's just genius. How did you come up with this? I mean, it is so needed, right? Because think about it. The the process of actually putting yourself out there, formulating an email, whether it's a template or not, you still have to be on top of your stuff. Like you still have to, put in the correct name. What if I wrote to somebody with the wrong name? That's things like that happen when you're
For
when
sure.
like when you're a single mom and you're trying to work and trying to do this. I mean, it was impossible for me. And so when I saw the work that went into this and the organization that went into that, I was blown away. And it's not just that, it's the support of you're checking in, and you're also checking in mentally, right? How are you doing mentally? Are you okay? Because you guys saw how excited I was for that one interview. And I
Mhm.
was crushed. I'm still, still replaying it, but it was a learning experience. And what made me feel really good about that experience was you validated me. You made me feel seen and heard. And you're like, listen, the same thing happened to me. Just move on. It's okay. You know, and indirectly, you told me basically don't tie your worth to like one little moment in your life.
Mhm.
And that kept me going because there's nobody that's in my situation, right? There's only me. I only know me that's in my situation. But when you're talking to, your mentor like a friend and they're like, "Hey, you know what? You got this." It's the difference between actually succeeding and actually, surpassing your expectations that you ever thought were possible for yourself, right?
Mhm.
There's a big difference there. So to
Mhm.
answer in a long-winded way. Um, yeah, absolutely. I felt immense support. I mean, I still can't wrap my head around, I would not have gotten where I am without you, hands down.
Hmm.
I
Love
wouldn't
it.
even have the mindset of I'm worth more as well.
Hmm.
I would have thought, oh yeah, like, 100K, that's so great in Canada. you know, it's not. And unfortunately, we're taxed a lot. So it's
Uh,
really important.
well, I
But
want to go in. I want to go into what the result was because I'm sure people are interested. Um, Before we dive into that, like, so you come in, you had the support, you rebranded yourself, right, with the team support, and
yeah.
then our team literally attacked the market for you. Yeah. How many interviews were you getting?
Oh my gosh, right off the bat, man, I got so many interviews right off the bat. And so some of these interviews, they were very straight up with me and they said, we are very far along with candidates, but we
Hmm.
love your resume. We love your authority in terms of, directness, relentlessness. I think that's one person said. Reaching out. And so what we'd like to do is like to just have a quick chat and have your resume on file. So I went to about like 4 interviews like that. And
Hmm.
I got pretty far. But right off the bat, I mean, the first week in to you guys sending these emails out, I was getting interviews the next
Hmm.
week. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, how do I prepare? Blah blah blah. Then you fixed me on that as well, right? The
Yeah.
preparation for the interviews, the preparation,
Hmm.
how to actually understand how to communicate my skills, how to present the skills in a way where it means something. That was huge
Hmm.
because you can say I have this skill, this skill, this skill, but if you can't take that skill and apply it to the actual role and how that's going to benefit, the team as a whole, there's really no point. So that was
Hmm.
really important. You guys taught me how to actually communicate
Hmm.
strategically.
Convert to
Yeah,
convert on those interviews, big point,
yeah,
right? 100%.
yeah,
I mean, you have the rebrand, and then you always obviously have to create that traction on the market.
yeah,
But then once you have the traction and you're speaking with a C-suite executive for a 100K plus offer, what do, right? So
yeah,
it's important.
yeah.
So okay, so you had a bunch of interviews, right away. You're interviewing a couple times a week, as I can recall, and or more.
Yeah, I'm looking at my calendar right now, actually, and it's, oh my God,
That's a lot
four
of
interviews
interviews.
in one day once.
Yeah, 4 interviews in one day. That's
Yeah,
insane. And you got 2 offers.
I did. On the same day. It was magic. I really didn't expect it.
That's
I,
exciting.
I didn't expect to get the second one that quickly, an hour
Hmm.
after.
Yeah. Well, you don't want to go into any. Well, you don't need to go into any detail on the companies and stuff like that because you're under contract and things. We don't want to say anything like that. But could you give us a little bit of an idea of what type of offers they were? I mean, you had two. One of them you declined, but what about the offer that you took? What does that look like?
It is incredible, and so it is a company that's growing quickly internally as well. So there's a lot of growth opportunity. That was one thing that I was really looking for. Salary is just one piece of the equation, but the
Hmm.
culture and the growth potential is what I was really looking forward to.
Hmm.
And this company has all of that. And they are just the process itself from the actual conversation and the first touch point with the recruiter was just lovely. All of my questions were answered. It was super professional. So I took that into consideration a lot as well, right? Because
Hmm.
I'm interviewing them as well. We have to
Hmm.
understand that it's a two-way street, and so that was the whole process was incredible. But the offer itself, I mean, there's benefits. There's so much flexibility, right? Um, there's one little perk that I think is so cool. You don't have to work on your birthday.
I saw that.
And that tells me what kind of culture that is right off the bat.
Hmm.
It's just
Yeah.
it's so that's so cool, right?
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's benefits, 190 OTE, and
Incredible.
great onboarding structure. There's a plan for 30, 60, 90 days, that kind of thing, and then just so much support. And I'm ecstatic to start like right away.
I love it. And so it's 190 OTE. Is there a base component in that?
Yeah, so it's 50-50, so the base is 95 as a salary.
Crazy. Insane.
Yeah. I mean,
that's insane.
That's if that's not going to motivate you, I don't know what else is. And there's accelerators, and there's President's Club, and there's just
lots of perks that go with sales, right? Because that's what we love about sales, right?
Exactly.
Is having that flexibility and uncapped earning potential, but also stability. That's important. A lot of people don't have that. That's just unbelievable. And it's remote.
It's 100% remote, and they even have a great little budget for you to zhuzh up your office, whatever you need.
Like a work from home allowance, yeah.
Exactly.
Unbelievable. And so 190 OTE, half of that's base, which is insane. So almost 6-figure base salary plus accelerators, perks, everything. How long did it take you from when you first put your resume on the market to landing this role?
When I first put my resume on the market, so when we just started applying, it was 1 month. So the first month, it took me about a month to really, fix up my resume and really sit down with it and understand, okay, what are my skills? How do I want to present myself truthfully? And how do I make it so that, front office sees it, essentially, right? So that took about a month, and that was on me because I was really busy. But it was a month of me really preparing for the interviews before I even put my resume on the market. So realistically, it took me 1 month of interviews. Some interviews I went to the second person, some to the third, right? So it took me a whole month to land an offer. And that's wild. 1 month?
Yeah. It's crazy.
That's insane. There are people
2 offers.
Sorry. God.
Well, that's the thing, right? A lot of people get stuck, right? Whether that's because they get a bad, response, or they feel they get down on themselves, or the amount of time it takes for you to do that, right? And that's what essentially the DFY solves, and our teams solve. Our executive teams, they really just take that in their own hands and make sure that you always have that sort of upward momentum, which is, and I love it. I love when we get these type of results. I mean, it's insane. Now that you've gone through everything, like, are you happy you did it?
Oh my gosh. Come on. What kind of question is that? Absolutely. I'm kind of pissed off that I didn't do it earlier. Like, where were you? What the heck? Absolutely. I'm so happy that I met the individuals on your team. I'm so happy that I met you virtually. It's just, there are times in your life where you just have to make the decision that you want more, and the universe or whatever will co-create with you, will conspire with you by placing these resources in your reality, like in your realm. And when I saw that I was having a conversation with one of my previous employees, and we were, kind of like, oh man, this is hard, right? And then he popped out of nowhere, and this was right around Christmas. I'm like, okay, all right, let me see this. Obviously your phone is listening to you, but I'm so glad that I just did it right away. Like, your 10-day challenge, signed up right away. I was like, great. I was like, okay, let's do a call, see what this whole mastermind is all about, because you would give us little tidbits. Just little seeds, like, oh, but really wouldn't go into it. And it's great. Yes, you got my attention. So you got my attention. I love that approach, and yeah, I mean, look, even when we had our first call, it was nice to be on the other end of it, to have somebody listen to you, right? And to see that that success that was just so close to me, right? There was never one time where you made me feel like, oh, this isn't for me or this couldn't happen. It was, it was just like you were saying things in passing, like, oh yeah, you can make $100,000 remote, no problem, blah blah blah, right? So yeah,
I love that because I say it all the time. Most people are like, yeah, whatever.
yeah, but you know what? It's how you say it. You say it in passing, right? Which makes people
Yeah, exactly.
like that. So yeah.
I love that. And I mean, we'll wrap this up soon because I know you got stuff to do, and I know you want to accept all your offers and everything, which is amazing. What would you tell somebody who's on the fence about having a call with our team, like, or maybe they're nervous about jumping on a call? What would you say to them?
I would say, what are you nervous about? I would ask them, first of all, what are you nervous about? And usually it's about the money, but it's really not about the money. It's usually people don't believe in themselves, right? It has nothing to do with you or the service that you're offering. It's they don't think it's possible for them to do something like this. And I was in a lot, worse situation than some of these people that have joined, right? I didn't have the budget for this at all. I made it work, figured it out, right? That was nerve-wracking. I'm a single parent with a mortgage, right? Well, what's scarier to me? Dishing out this investment or living my entire life complaining like I was. I was tired of being that person that's complaining, right? So I would tell another person that's on the fence about this, just do it. What do you have to lose? Realistically. Right? What's stopping you and what's in your way? You've been thinking about this for how long already? Aren't you tired of thinking about this? Aren't you tired of the anxiety? Aren't you tired of doubting yourself? That's what stops most people from accomplishing anything that they've ever wanted to accomplish. They just doubt themselves and they get into this perpetual cycle of self-loathing and doubt. And once you start understanding that, listen, I'm accountable for my life, that's when you can actually decide. It just happens when you decide. So what I would say to the person is just decide, right? Make a decision, yes or no. But yes is the good answer.
Perfect. Final question. Would you recommend what we do over here at James University, how we support everybody? Would you recommend that to your friends or to your family?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I already recommended you guys to 2 of my friends, and I'm going to be following up with them as well. I think what you guys are doing is incredible. This type of resource, this type of education should be out there a lot more because you are giving people hope. You are giving people their lives back. It might not be directly, but you indirectly gave me my life back. You literally changed my perspective, right? And I thought I'm a very positive person in general, right? And I didn't understand how closed off I was in terms of perspective and what was possible until I actually bumped into you and what you guys do. And in 2 months, it took me 2 months to literally change my life. And when one good thing happens, all the good things happen. You just become a magnet, right? All this abundance. So I'm not going to get into the details of literally how you've changed the trajectory of my life, but you really have. You've done a 180. So I'm not going to start crying or anything, but I'm very thankful. I'm very thankful to have met you. Seriously.
Appreciate that. Okay. We can end it on that. That's very kind of you, and I really love that. You're gonna make me cry.
Yeah.